Hi subscribers, welcome back to my channel. My name is David Parnell and I'm going to show you all of the high temperatures and low temperatures from the 2019-2020 school year. Only school days only. Alright, so the first week of school last school year was August 5th to the 9th. The first line is high temperatures, the second line is low temperatures. So as you can see, the first day of school, 115 degrees. And then those low temperatures were in the upper 80s. The second and third day of school wasn't bad. Fourth was a little toasty, and then it dropped because of moisture. Because we have our monsoon season from June 15th to September 30th every year. Second week of school, it got even toastier. See, you can see here, 106 right there on August 12th, 89 on for the low, and then 13, 14. There was an excessive heat warning there when it got 110 plus. And it just doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like an oven, practically, if you know what I mean. And then those low temperatures that week started to feel a little more pleasant. However, that's still warm for me. I was like it cool. And then going on, again, pretty dry out there and hot. Abnormally dry. We should be having our monsoons. So what's going to happen here is same stuff. Lows in the 80s, highs around 110 plus. Looks like Friday the 23rd it dropped to 105 degrees for the high. So the following week, I'm on the last week of meteorological summer, which is August 26th to the 30th. And it looks like it wasn't as bad, finally. But there was an excessive heat warning on the 27th as well as the 28th and the 30th. The 30th is that one right there. So that one, and that one, there was excessive heat warnings. And then on the 28th, see how the low temperature was 79? That one was because there was finally monsoon storms that came in here later that night that dropped the temperatures. It was 91 degrees for the low on both the 27th and then in the morning on the 28th, but then it dropped to 79 at night due to monsoon storms. It was hailing. It just was a downburst and thunderstorms and lightning, hail. Alright, here's the first week of meteorological fall, which is September through November. And, well, it doesn't look like the first week of fall has an improvement on September 3rd to the 6th. Also, I don't count holidays or weekends, just to let you know. So, 112, that was a record. Tied that last year. So, and then those low temperatures also creep back up to the upper 80s. And then things started to finally improve the second week of meteorological fall when you see there was hundreds, and then there was even a high temperature in the 90s. And low temperatures are starting to go down to the low 80s. So the 12th and the 13th it got hot again, but it wasn't really too bad. And then the next week, which is the 16th, you can see the 16th of September. That's 99, 77. Low temperatures are now going down in the 70s. And then right there, September 19th of 2019, that was the last 100-degree day of the year. And then now this week, the 23rd to the 27th, you can see it dropping big time, and that's because on the 23rd, 25th, and 26th, there was rain, and It still counts as monsoon season, but there was rain and there was flash flooding, hail, thunderstorms. There was even a brief tornado here in Arizona reported. We don't get tornadoes very often here, so that was a pretty busy week right there. I mean, one of the streets got flooded. I remember that too. And then low temperatures started to drop in the 60s as well, low 70s. So it's starting to feel a little more pleasant. And then this is going into October. This is the week before fall break, the 30th to the 4th, you can see. Now it's down in the 90s and lows in the 60s mostly. Alright, after fall break, it's still hot, but it's starting to improve. There was 98 on the 16th of October, and 67 for the low, and then 96, 71 for the low, but at least it's starting to improve. This week, the 21st to the 25th, it gets hot still, but at least it's, again, cooling off. It's almost like a traditional summer. If anybody's watching this that's living back in the Midwest, Great Lakes, anywhere along there, it's almost like a traditional summer, all fall is. And you can tell, I mean, this is not really fall-like weather over there in Great Lakes, Midwest. This is mainly the summer weather, so people that come out here and have to sweat through the summer here, they kind of appreciate this weather, you know. Cool morning lows, now dropping into the upper 50s, it looks like. High temperatures, mid 80s to about 90. And then the following week is when it started to get a little chilly in the morning. I wear a jacket when it's under 50. Anything 50 plus, I usually do not. But it just depends on what it's like outside. And that week, the 29th and the 31st, Halloween, got cold in the morning. You can see that low temperature to the right. And then November 1st, it heated up again. Pretty much no rain again, unfortunately. But the 4th to the 8th, yes, it was hot. And like I said, it's pretty much a traditional summer still, where you're from probably, but it's 80s and then upper 50s and low 60s for the low temperatures. And then Veterans Day, there was no school, so the 12th to the 15th is when it started to cool down a little more, but still above average. I think by then, average high temperatures in the 70s, so it's definitely above average. And then the low temperatures also improved to the upper 50s. Now down here, it started to get chilly with a lot of rain coming in. The 18th was still hot and dry. And then the 19th, it was had some afternoon showers coming in, and that 76 for the high, I think, happened before noontime, and then it started cooling down because of the storms coming in. And then look at those temperatures plummet now as it's getting closer to winter time. It usually never snows here in Phoenix, but on occasion you can see the mountains with the dusting of snow here in Phoenix, which is always a pleasant sight. I mean, it's always good to see snow. However, if I do want snow, I can always go up north. Flagstaff has an elevation of 7,000 feet. I do believe that Phoenix has an elevation of 1,100 feet, so that's the reason why it's hot down here. Also, we're close to the equator, so it can get hot pretty quick down here because of that. But however, right here, there was a flash flood warning. I remember taking the bus that day on November 20th, and I was almost flooded away. I mean, what happened was the sidewalk was like flooding almost. I mean, it was the street that was flooding, but the street was flooding high enough to where the sidewalk would also flood a bit. And the bus was getting ready to pick me up and splash all of the wet, dirty water that's on the ground on me. I wasn't like soaking wet, luckily. That's good. So, and then the 21st was also a wet day. 22nd dried out, but it stayed cool due to the moisture. But the low temperatures are in the 50s, all because of the moisture. However, this is the week of Thanksgiving, and looks like it is getting chilly now. 40s for lows, 60s for highs. This is the first week of meteorological winter, and I'd say it doesn't feel like it in the daytime. Looks like those are a little above average. By then, the average high, believe it or not, is down under 70 degrees. So I don't think those are going to be below average. The third might be below average, but then it heats up again a little bit on the fourth. And low temperatures also go up. Those are definitely above average because it did sprinkle a little bit on the fourth, and with the moisture, the added moisture, the overnight lows did not drop too much. On the 9th to the 13th, it started to feel a little more like winter, but it's still, I'd say, slightly above average. 67 might still be average, I don't know. But then 70 definitely is most likely a little above average. 69 might be only a degree or two above average. Our coldest average high temperature is 65 degrees on Christmas or around Christmas time. So those are not too far above average, but maybe a degree above average. This week it got a little cold again. There was a 38 for the low on December 17th. I bet that one was cold. I bet everyone starts to wear a jacket when it gets that cold. And then 60s, low 60s now, and then mid 60s. And then winter break, and then January. That's a 73. I didn't write that really all that good, but that's a 73. And low temperatures are in the 40s. For the most part, high temperatures would stay in the 60s. And then going the following week, high temperatures mainly in the 60s, which is about average. I think still a little above. I want to say it's average by then is 67. It does drop below average for sure there, because as you heat up, or as it gets farther into January, the average high temperature starts going up. So it is a little below average there, but these right here are definitely below average. The coldest average low temperature is 44 degrees, which also occurs around Christmas to New Year's area or time frame. Martin Luther King week, no school, Martin Luther King Day, and then it looks like it is 60s to low 70s and low temperatures 50s. Now on the 21st there was scattered showers around, and that's what held up the low temperature overnight. In fact, the high temperature was 64 degrees, and that happened at midnight on the 21st of January. The low temperature was 53 degrees, and that happened before 4 a.m. So it was a pretty strange day due to moisture around. And then the next week was above average for sure. That week, 74. That's probably about 5 degrees above average. And then it does drop to 67. That might be average. And then it goes up again. Low temperatures in the 40s to about 50 or so. Maybe the low 50s in some parts of the valley on January 27th. February. This is the coldest time of the school year. And those temperatures really plummeted. Mid-30s now. Some parts of the valley had a freeze those couple of days that you see. And then mid-50s for highs. So definitely so much colder now. This is the coldest time of the of last school year. This is the coldest time of the last school year, was right here. And it was definitely below average right there. The next week, it rained again on the 10th. So the low temperature of 52 happened before midnight, going into the 11th. And that's what kept the temperatures down on the 11th, is because of the moisture. And then temperatures rebound again. And then it started to feel a little more like spring going into late February. See, now seeing an 82 there, but the low temperatures are now, for the most part, low 50s. This is the last week of meteorological winter, and it started to get a little cooler again, but it's starting to warm up to a spring-like temperatures here now. And then March 2nd to the 6th. Now it's heating up to mid-80s by the end of the week. But it was a little bit cold here because of rain. Not too much rain, but scattered showers. Some parts of the valley had scattered showers, but I think for the most part, most spots had only a trace of rain, which doesn't count for the entire rain gauge. This is March 9th to the 13th, and this is the last week of school before they close schools down in my district. So this is another wet week. So the last week of school before they close schools down looks like a wet week because on the 10th and 11th it cooled down. On the 11th, see, there's not much temperature variance, 66, 61, because of added moisture, and that's what kept the temperatures up overnight. But then, I think 53 for the low happened early in the morning still. But it was 66 for the high before storms came in the afternoon, but I don't know what time it was. When the storms came in, temperatures dropped to about 59 degrees when the storms came in. So it was a little bit of a colder system. I think it was more than one system. I have to check that. Spring break. So right here is where they close schools down. And then the 23rd to the 27th, there was no school at all. And then starting the 30th is when online school started in my district. So the 23rd to the 27th, the week of no school at all, it was warm, spring-like. It did cool off to more of a winter-like temperature by the 27th, but then low temperatures were still in the 50s, so that's a little more spring-like here. Now, the first week of online school was the 30th to April 3rd, and it started to warm up again, and it finally feels like spring now, 80s, and then low temperatures, 50s to about 60. The following week is April 6th to the 10th, and it started to get a little cooler and breezier as it went to the end of the week. Low temperatures still in the 50s. Right here, low temperatures in the 50s as well, and high temperatures start rebounding, starting to get warm. There's an 89 now on April 17th, and then the 20th to the 24th. Yes, summer starts early here in Phoenix, Arizona. Look at that. All right. Let's go to late April. I have only one more page. April 27th to May 1st. As you can tell, it's already hot. In fact, those are way above average. The normal high temperature on May 1st is only 90, so it's definitely above average still. That's more of a June type heat, but you know, Phoenix is in the desert, so it tends to want to kick in quick for some reason. I don't know why. I have a couple more weeks here. May 4th to the 8th. It is getting hotter, 106 now. Those probably are pretty close to record highs. and then low temperatures are now in the low 70s. Now this week it started to cool down, May 11th to the 15th, when high temperatures dropped to the low 90s again and 60s, upper 60s. But then last week of school, yes, hot on the 18th, but it did cool down. Do you see that surprise? That's the last day of school last school year. And I think that also brought in windy conditions, because spring is the windiest time of the year here in Arizona. So I'd say most of the time you can see gusts up to 40 miles an hour in the spring here in Phoenix. And that's going to be it for this video here. I will see you all later. Like, subscribe, share, do it. See you later. Bye.